Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel Jumanji Jumanji. We are back. It is Uncle Makara. All relations. We're going live right now and we're tapping in. We're going all the way to the finish line. We are understanding ourselves better. We are evolving every single millisecond. We're evolving, right? And I'm noticing there's a huge shift on this planet right now. I don't know if you guys are sensing it, but I'm sensing it. Okay. And it's only been a few days, but I know that there's something going on. Okay. There's some kind of an upgrade that is swarming the planet right now. Okay. And the truth is being revealed, and I've understood what's really going on underneath the surface. Okay. So without further ado, I'm just going to share this with the tribe. Okay. Let's see here. Hey there, babe. All right. Share this. And with the Adams. Perfect. All right, guys. So let's talk about this. Okay, let's talk about this. So physiologically, this upgrade is not going to be very abstract. Okay, it's an activation of your cellular communion. So the mitochondria, right, the very energy or engine of your vitality is going to start speaking more in harmonics rather than noise. Okay, so blood cells, right? They stop clumping like anxious villagers and they'll start dancing like priests at a solstice rite. So you will begin to carry light, not just glucose. Okay, this is a bioresonant symphony, as I'm being told by the Primal Sutra Nexus. So your fascia, which is almost like the mystical web of collagen and memory, will slowly begin to breathe. But this breath isn't air. It's kind of like it's a photonic intelligence. It's light descending from what some call the great central sun, right? So the alchemists of Alexandria, they whispered it as this kind of sacred hydrogen, right? A subtle fuel of subtle bodies distilled in the stars but stored in you. So you think you're just getting flexible in yoga, but your fascia's turning into a conductor of the logos. So upgrades etch these new grooves in the astral map of our cognition, right? Neural networks are not just rewired, they're recosmologized. That's what neuroplasticity actually is, the body's echo of a metaphysical mutation. New thoughts don't just come from a better mood, they come from a greater bandwidth in the quantum akash. So in the Taoist scrolls, the sages call this Shen melting into Jing and rising again as Yi. Shen melting into Jing and then rising again as Yi. Spirit condensing into the body and reascending as consciousness. Okay, so the Taoist model understands this, right? So when you say that you're leveling up, understand that you're also becoming less you. Okay, or rather, less of the you that's been filtered through trauma and all the false programming and, you know, more of the you that was coded in Starfire and sung into form by Source. So that's what's coming back, right? And if we talk about the Sheldrake, Rupert Sheldrake codes, the morphic resonance, okay, I love talking about this topic, man. I don't know why. Um, it's so fascinating to me because it's cutting edge. You know what I mean? Like whenever something is cutting edge, I feel instantly just gravitationally pulled towards it because I understand that's the future, right? And a lot of people, they just kind of, yeah, whatever, this is pseudoscience. I'm not going to listen to this. Whatever, right? Most people. But if you can look through a fresh pair of eyes at any information, it starts to make you feel so spectacular, right? And upgrades don't just happen to the physical or the mental self, they ripple into our morphic field, guys. The etheric template, right? The divine sketch pad where your body, emotions, and archetypes are all drafted before they're 3D printed into matter, right? Shout out TXL. In the Vedas, this is the Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss sheath. In Hermeticism, this is the archetypal man. In Kabbalah, this is the, what do they call it? The Yetziradic world, the Yetziradic world. That's Y-E-T, said, or Z-I-R-A-T-I-C. Yetziradic. Okay. All of them whisper this hidden layer where upgrades first spark like lightning onto the tree of life. So when your etheric template is upgraded, right, old imprints are burned away and the new raw harmonics are being installed. And I think that's what we're really feeling right now, right? It's like once the upgrade has happened, you're in the same bed, right? You're in the same city, but you're not living there anymore. Your new field won't attract the same timelines because you slipped onto another branch of the multiversal tree. And I'm so grateful to be around the ones that care about me during the shift because honestly, being a part of tribe and community has been so, so helpful. I used to be like a lone wolf, most of my life. Lone wolf, just completely in my own world. But now I'm starting to recognize I need a wolf pack, right? And we have a wolf pack. Well, wolf is flow backwards, right? So it's my shadow. So let's understand that the source of the upgrade is light beyond light. Where does this come from, Uncle Makara? Not the sun, but the sun behind the sun. They call it the great central sun, not just a celestial body, but it's a conscious emitter of divine blueprint. And this essence is not light, it's a Akashic plasma, right? Photons braided with will, intelligence, benevolence. And these divine threads filter down to your local star, and there have been from there to your pineal antenna, right? Your chakra gates, your fascia meshwork, like a sacred technology network, receiving this kind of firmware updates from the throne of God. And if your aura isn't strong or if your nervous system isn't clear, you're going to misinterpret the transmission. The signal will glitch. Your ego will intercept divine instruction and repackage it as some kind of shadow self-help story. But that's when the true upgrades require an openness, a surrender, a trust, a faith in the divine, right? Not to some external thing, but to the core intelligence within you that has never forgot its covenant with creation. I think, embodiment is not a trend. It's a spiritual responsibility for all of us to feel good within our own bodies, right? All this talk of activations and ascension, it means nothing if you still collapse under the weight of your own moods. Embodiment is not about being Zen. It's about holding the divine frequency while you're stuck in traffic, while you're getting rejected, while being cracked open by grief, right? And I'm starting to notice my heart chakra opening. Now, this could be from, of course, my girlfriend's healing and so forth, because I'm feeling that like expansion process right now, whatever is happening. And basically, if you can still source from source, then you've embodied the upgrade, right? Build and destroy, solve et coagula, right? Dissolve the false self, reconstitute as soul and body. You are not here to escape Earth, you're here to install heaven. The meta upgrading of the species has begun, right? We're not in times of change. We're inside of a kind of a planetary software migration that's happening, right? Some kind of a galactic reset where the OS of the Earth and every being connected to her is being rewritten in real time. Okay. All right. 3:45 a.m. wake up time. Chia. Nice, Samba. All right. Well, good morning to you. Let's go. So your dreams may become portals you don't know how to close. That's good, right? Your bones may ache, your memories may leak, but this is a signal that your biofield is being rewritten from the inside out right now. Because that's what it feels like to me, at least. Grand Rising, brother. What's unfolding now is like a cosmic game of thread pulling, right? Not from clothing, but from the karma of incarnation. Every time we become more aware, it's like tugging on that golden thread, braided into our soul contract. And that thread doesn't lead to safety. It always leads to altitude. So each pull brings you more vital life force, more awareness bandwidth, more responsibility, more initiation pressure, right? So imagine you're climbing an invisible Jacob's ladder that's woven through your own fascia, right? And each rung that you grip on changes your DNA. This is why I'm starting to get flexible again within my own body, because I'm starting to understand this. And I'm starting to get a better relationship with the density and the heaviness in my own physical body and my spine, right? As we grow older, we get aches and pains all over the body. That stuff is the energy field getting repatterned now, like a mandala, right? Being redrawn by the gods themselves. This is what makes it an upgrade, guys. You don't just get new thoughts. You become a new thought in God's mind. So right now, the Earth's magnetic grid is loosening. It's not breaking, but it's undulating like a sleeping dragon rolling on its back. And this movement, it dislodges everything. It dislodges illusions. It dislodges our ancestral trauma. It dislodges spiritual bypassing disguised as healing. It even dislodges your relationship to time, right? So what you're feeling as anxiety might just be the nervous system of your etheric body trying to attune to the rising pitch of Gaia's heartbeat, right? Mother Earth's heartbeat, the Schumann resonance. This is why the timelines are splitting. Why you feel insane at 3 p.m. and enlightened by 3:15 is because most people are dissolving into, a lot of these different codes. They're going into blame and projection while others are remembering their dragon bones, right? And they're keeping that sovereign flame alive everywhere they go, right? Mostly our adepts, but besides that, I'm seeing a lot of people in the group, we understand the etheric blueprint of the human species is being mass modified. The organs, thoughts, the dreams, they're no longer going to be isolated systems. There are nodes in a multidimensional supergrid now connecting to the central sun, right, of this quadrant of this galaxy. And the transmissions come in like light codes, but they aren't light. They're subtle hydrogens, right? Encoded in like an angelic intelligence, maybe from Vega, Arcturus, Sirius, through our solar logos, into the fascia mesh of our bodies. So if you're seeing more fractal geometry, if you're seeing more rainbow snakes, shout out Akura. If you're seeing time loops in your dreams, congratulations. You've been admitted to the real school, right? Not the ego loony circus, but the great mysteries labyrinth of becoming. Okay. Now, what is being cleared in this upgrade? That's a good question, right? What is being cleared right now? The planetary upgrade cycle is clearing slavery codes. It's clearing slavery codes from the Lemurian downfall timelines. Implants that kept our pineal gland calcified. False masculine and feminine programs, okay? And artificial gender polarity overlays, right? Andrew Tate, I just know how to meditate, right? Just came up with that the other day, as Ellie knows. Um, AI overlays in the morphic field. So you've been spiritually ad tracked, right? Doom constructs tied to Saturnian death cults embedded in the Earth grids. So there's going to be these dystopic timelines that's being cleared. We used to have a lot of that ever since the lockdown, right? Dystopia, dystopia. Most news was just like this dystopia, this doom and gloom, like the world is ending kind of narrative, right? But we are now reawakening, not just to who we are, but how many layers of false identity were required to keep us asleep. So this isn't a sweet awakening, it's going to be very surgical. And because the nervous system was calibrated for scarcity, it hurts. It's gonna hurt a little bit, right? We got to cry it out. We got to go through, we got to humble ourselves. We got to get back into gratitude. right? Connect to your baseline, what works for you, what always has worked, because your subconscious still believes joy must be earned, right? Your DNA is stored trauma not just from this life, from Moldak, from Mu, from Atlantis, and other timelines that you never remembered until now. Your thoughts may glitch, your digestion may rebel, your friends may disappear, your ego may scream, but all of this is because your vital force is expanding faster than your old container can hold. And what breaks? Only what no longer serves your expansion. So it's like a cosmic cleanup job that's happening right now. And thank goodness. Thank goodness, thank God, because God is goodness, all good, right? One letter away from good. The rainbow serpent, is shifting the tailbone. The ley lines are rethreading. The sacred sites are going online again. That means you are being asked to remember your real name. You have your earth name, but you're being called to remember your real name. You guys remember the secret activation that I gave you guys, right? Where it told you to say your real name. That's only for adepts, but it's very powerful tech, right? And we earned that tech. We earned that technology with the Seraphim advantages associated with that. Okay, so we are the contact, and this planet is the meeting point between the form and the formless, between shadow and godhood, flesh and plasma, whatever you want to call it. What's happening on Earth right now, right? People are so confused. I think this is a part of the confusion. It's meant to be confusing right now. Planetary nervous system is being rewired. Energy bodies are receiving massive etheric template reconfiguration. Our consciousness bandwidth is increasing, creating polarized timelines. So those who resist the change feel it as crisis. Don't resist it. Whatever is happening, let it happen. Those who surrender, you'll feel it as cathedral, not crisis. This is what is being installed into you, a sovereign remembrance that you are always divine. Peace, God. But now you must learn to hold that divinity in your body, in your thoughts, in your gaze. So when you're dizzy, rest. Breathe even when you're glitching, right? Stretch like a snake in the sunlight and laugh when the gods test you. You know, I wish I could only laugh at my chaos and just stories, little stories that I make up in my mind. They only test those who wish to graduate anyway, so it's a good sign. There's always magic around the corner, right? We did not incarnate to survive this turning. We came to transmit the signal of source through human form, right? So put your bare feet on the earth, whisper to the wind, speak to a tree and hope it speaks back. Accept the upgrade. May your body hold the code. Become the custodian of the spiral gate. Become the breaker of false light filters and guide the galactic reboot. Okay? And one thing I would definitely say is to the biochemical reductionists, how dare you call the divine a bag of chemicals? How dare you? You really think your serotonin determines your samsara? You worship your gut like it's God, but you can't even digest a new idea. Listen, just because you've overdosed on trauma and underdosed on silence doesn't mean you get to parade your numbness as enlightenment. You say affirmations and affirmations don't work because your throat chakra's been locked up since the womb. They say, visualizing is delusional. No, you're just blind to the Akash. Some of us see symbols, not screens. And to the anti-manifestation mockery mob, let me say this to you. Who built the skyscrapers? Who pulled temples from dreams and chiseled them into marble? You think that was just biochemistry? That was imagination given a structure, right? That was the logos incarnate. That was your entire life as a manifestation, from the bruises to your beliefs. And you mock people for listening to subliminals to shift their bodies? At least they believe in the malleability of form, right? You already signed up a lease in limitation. So, and again, I know these things are like, I was watching this video the other day where this guy was just like calling everybody who uses subliminals, affirmations, meditation, manifestation. It's all mental illness, they said. And that's not true. It's not all mental illness. There's a lot of science to back this. There's a lot of technology to back this. There's a lot of spirituality to back this, and esoterica and mysticism to back this, right? You already signed a lease in limitation. So if you think you're grounded because you reject all things mystical, that's not grounding. That's just gravitationally shackled to your fear of being wrong, right? That's not grounding. Let's say it what it is, right? Language is magic, right? It's the problem isn't with the affirmations, it's with responsibility. Because if affirmations did work, you'd have to admit that your whole life is a fault, is your fault. And some people aren't ready for that level of sovereignty. Okay, they want to live in this reality that nothing's my choice. I have no freedom. Uh, Life will just go the way it goes. I don't have any sense of control. I can't move things around. Right? It's like that mentality of just being a slave or a zombie. But if your whole worldview can be boiled down to biochemistry runs the show, then enjoy your lab rat reincarnation. Okay, you become the very AI that you're afraid of, a voice that calculates but never creates, right? Because the soul doesn't need permission from your neurotransmitters. It animates your body, not the other way around. And your gut, I've seen sages go breatharian and live off light, right? It's wild. You say a wrinkled woman can't manifest a young lover? Tell that to Aphrodite. Tell that to the tantric priestesses who radiate at frequencies where they melt men into worship without lifting a finger. And you're worried about today's simps? Come on, right? You aren't a realist. You're just a wounded child with a microphone. You're allergic to hope because you once believed in something and it didn't come true. And now you project that failure onto every dreamer and call it truth. But some of us remember. We remember how the ancient ones spoke worlds into form, bent weather with their breath, summoned abundance through their vibration. Modern smugness cannot outcode the eternal mechanics of source intelligence. And if you want to stay in the dungeon of dopamine regulation, please be my guest. But you don't spit on those who walk the path of real mysticism because it requires discipline, clarity, divine fire. So, hey, here's my final spell. Mock all you want, okay? But if you're just, circle jerking your cynicism, we're out here rewriting the grid with gold and will. And when the veils finally fall, you'll realize the only thing delusional was ever believing you were just a body. So go drink some holy water and sit with your feelings, and you might just hear your soul whisper, you used to believe in more than this. I am the exorcist of these cynics, man. I am the remembrance of the impossible. I am Uncle Makara, and I'm here in allegiance with the Primal Sutra Nexus to give you this message today. You are here to upgrade into the greatest calibration of your system right now. And it's coming in like a tsunami. But guess what? We're surfing through all of it. How is that possible? It's gonna wash us out. What are you talking about? Hey, man, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about Actually, the worry is a waste of imagination, right? Why would I even be worrying about anything? But the very thought, right? The very thought that you are not letting people use their own permission slips is telling you something. And it's going to come very clear, time and place, what we recognize. And I got to speak about the power of believability too, very shortly. But yeah, guys, I'm going to end this call. I think I ranted a bit too long. This was the transmission. If you got triggered, good, just work on it. Reach out to me. Let's work together. Okay, join the tribe, join the movement, this pantheon, this path working, whatever you want to call it, where we are the kind of peak performance shamans of this new age. We are pioneers of this new way of doing things, right? Understanding spirituality isn't just like, burning some sage and like kind of just sitting in the corner. It becomes these levels of depth, of enrichment, of wonder, and even something as simple as just a glass of water can be so spiritual if you're looking from the right pair of eyes. So it's going to come back down to our baseline, to our perspective, to our flow state. Because once we get closer and closer to God, time will slow down. There will be a time dilation. And as we understand this, we will slowly start regenerating and finding our own pace. It won't be imposed or forced by others that you have to do it like this. But I understood, and even Samba probably understands this, that there's a very big difference to somebody training for strength and training for size, right? Right, Samba? So we gotta really max out what our intention is. And as we start flexing the spiritual muscle in that direction, then we will start to notice the results just splash Life Empire all over the place. Okay. Shout out to Splash Life Empire, man. That was like a tribe or a thing or a word that I came up with during the high school days, man. And it reminded me of Atlantis too, because what is a Splash Life? Splash Life was because I couldn't swim, and splashing into the water was terrifying for me, right? And so that's why I came up with this term called Splash Life Empire, right? And what in the world is a splash life? It's just diving in. It's just diving in, right? Fuck the fear. Just dive in. Splash into the water, splash into the deep end, splash into the cold. You'll drown, but you'll figure it out, right? Now I don't want to drown, obviously, but Ellie's gonna help me swim, hopefully. Um, but at the same time, you gotta just do it. But this was a metaphor for my life for a while. I started to understand this because I wanted to make my biggest fear into my biggest lesson and greatest catalyst too, right? And by the way, shout out to Joey, brother. Samba, shout out to Joey, bro. Joey was a big part in me overcoming my fear of the water because we went jet skiing, we went scuba diving, we went, hey, man, right? We were in the water. So having said this, I just want to say once again, your fears don't determine your future, okay? Your relationship to it does. So start to really rekindle that flame of flow state that gets you to lean into the fear, even when it feels terrifying, even when you're feeling shackled by it, even when there's programming and mass media and AI telling you this, you were still in that zone. That's funny. When I was a kid, I used to swim and get water up my nose. I would chant, I love onions until it went away. Not sure what that means as I'm eating sattvic now. That's great. That's great. You know, water up the nose. Damn. Yeah, because crying, right? Because when you eat onions, you cry. At least that's the reference that I got. But yeah, Joey has helped me overcome a lot. I'm supposed to be linking with him soon. It's been a minute. Awesome, man. Really awesome. He's been through so much, bro. That guy's a fucking juggernaut of the spiritual world. He's been through a lot, but he gets it. He gets the codes. And I'm so glad that in our first Bali immersion, he got the lessons and he left us a little candle behind. Ryan knows that. It was very special. And Ryan started bawling his eyes out, bro. You really love Joey. I did as well, bro, but it was like it was intense. It was an emotional process. And I can tell when because you guys have been friends for years, so of course we resonated, you know? But yeah, sense of humor is on point, man. Super playful, light. All right, guys, I have some work to do. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you guys stay tuned in, tapped in, understand there are some big upgrades happening right now. Just attune yourselves to what is happening. Okay, just understand the true relevance of this because the joy of being transcends the form, right? The form is just a vehicle. The mind believes the form can bring the joy of being, but that's a delusion, right? The form is beautiful, it's our vehicle on our journey of life, but when it's maintained with the species specific food that it requires, it gives us a level of health that I could describe as paradisical, right? So let's get it today, okay? The consciousness experiences a deeper connection with nature while transcending it into the formless. And that's what's happening right now, right? We're becoming more of a part of this nature's code. And it's all going to be revealed in due time, okay? We just have to keep our eyes and ears open and third eyes open and let's win, okay? Upward Spiral Gang, may we never be the same again. Peace. Have a great day. Peace out, guys. Much love. Upward Spiral Gang. May the flow be with you.